What's something people do in relationships they think is sweet but is actually toxic? Story 1. X would dig his fingers into my armpits to the point they were sore the next day and pinch my boobs to tickle me and would get genuinely pissed off when I told him to stop because he was literally just playing with me. Story 2. The constant posting on socials about their partner with paragraphs talking about how much they love them. They make it seem like an innocent love letter. It screams either, "I claim this," "It's mine," "Leave it alone," even it invites you, or them trying to convince themselves everything is fine. It's always my forever, while their relationship is actually crumbling. I can't imagine being in a relationship that I'm so insecure in that I have to post letting everyone know we are together every 5 minutes. Answer: this is on topic with the post, but your comment just reminded me of those people who post because they need people to witness their performances of love, grief, etc. Like my cousin had a dog that apparently saved her from her eating disorder. She went on and on about how this dog was her best friend and she loved her until the ends of the earth. Cut to the dog's old age and my cousin dumped her with my grandma, who already had an ailing dog when she moved overseas. When the dog died, suddenly her feed was filled with overwrought posts about how the earth lost an angel. Can't imagine. Life without her. Look at how sad I am, everybody. Blah, blah, blah. Story 3. Obsessively tracking Life 360, constantly calling and asking, "Why are you at?" Announcing to the group, wonder why they stopped at. Incessantly texting when they're not together, calling others because they can't reach their partner, because it's an emergency. They're not answering. After texting 15 minutes prior and there is no emergency, they're anxiously attached. Answer: I primarily use location for my GF to time when to put shoot in the oven and whatnot. She often just kind of zones out on the bus, so she doesn't reply quickly. So if I want to know if she's 30-40 minutes away and I should start on dinner, I just check. I have ADHD too, so it's a lifesaver, because I could end up sucked into TikTok and going, shoot, I haven't started dinner, and she'd have to wait ages to eat, and I'd feel bad, lol. Following her location other than that? Nah, not unless she ghosted me for hours and I was worried if she was okay. Never had to though, thankfully. But yeah, just for making dinner and timing so she can just veg out on the bus home from work. Story 4. Posting their happiness all over social media. 90% of the time, at least one person in those types of partnerships aren't happy and just feel the need to keep up appearances because they've told everyone and their dog how perfect their relationship is for years, and when it stops being perfect, they just keep on going, singing the praises of a person they can barely stand. Edit. For clarity. Story 5. I had an ex that would use my stuff all the time, and when he could tell it bothered me, he'd make a face he thought was cute and say what's yours is mine and mine is yours. I started hiding things from him. I didn't want to share my toothbrush or deodorant or my expensive face lotion because a lot of others fudge up my skin. He thought it was so cute to share that stuff. But in my next relationship, I got really possessive about my things and would tend to get mad if they asked to borrow things. I'm over it now, and my boyfriend now would never do that. But man, I dislike it. Story 6. I've always thought it's creepy and demeaning whenever one person orders food drinks for 2 people, even though the other person is trying to say no thanks, I want something else. It would be nice to be known so well, and if that is what you actually want. But if they're not listening to you about this simple thing, then maybe they're not listening to you about the more serious things. Story 7. A guy I used to date would try to prevent me from engaging in hobbies I enjoy because he was concerned for my safety. I found it really controlling. In general, I feel like people often disguise a desire for control as concern for another's safety. Story 8. Some people here aren't sweet at all. Wow. Stealing hoodies and telling me it's now theirs and mean is sweet and toxic. Constant teasing to the point where it gets toxic. Yet, I see not respecting personal boundaries, having no other friends, texting, calling too much, etc. Those are not sweet to begin with. Story 9. I feel like most romantic relationship things have already been covered, so here's a familial relationship one. When parents look through your personal belongings because they're looking out for you and want to protect you. No, that's a massive invasion of privacy and makes your kid even less likely to ever open up to you. I still have trust issues over this, even though I have nothing to hide. Story 10. The silent treatment to avoid an actual argument or discussion about something that caused upset. I ended up walking in eggshells constantly as the sheer anxiety triggered from silent treatment was worse. Story 11. My ex got upset because I told him he didn't need to shower me every time we stayed over at each other's house, and I'd like to have a shower on my own. He also got upset because I was with him for more than 4 hours before I kissed him, and he practically had to ask for it. We'd had an argument, he never apologized. He sent me money without me asking for it. When I broke up with him, he asked me for the money back and said I'd used him. Answer: I invested in you of my own free will. Now I'm bitter I partied too hard that investment, so you owe me? Disgusting. If you borrowed it or he lent it to you, yeah, I can see how that'd look. It almost makes the relationship seem transactional in nature, like I gave you a hug for emotional support, so now you have to do something for me when I demand it. With everything logged in a book. I just can't. I don't know the guy, but not being with him seems worth it. I knew a guy like that once. You were the bad person if you didn't reciprocate when they need something, regardless of context, because they did X and Y for you. It's like a constant debt. Story 12. Started with, you don't need to walk back and forth to work. It's dangerous to be walking the streets alone. I'll take you to and from work. Then, when I got a car, it was, don't waste your gas. I'll still take you to work and back home. Or, oh, you're going to your friends to hang out? I was really hoping you'd stay here with me so we can spend more time together. I miss you. Even though we were literally spending every day together. He thought all these things made him more romantic. All of them were red flags to me. I mean, the first one, not super big red flag, but I'm very independent. So I didn't like it, but I let it slide because I'm 4'11", tall, and was living in the city downtown. So I can sort of see why my partner wouldn't want me to walk, especially at night, but I still wasn't a fan of it. I had pepper spray. I know that doesn't always help, but I felt confident. And if I ever didn't feel confident some nights, I would ask a coworker to take me home, or I'd just run all the way, LOL. Story 13. Always doing everything for your partner. My ex, textbook narcissist, did every single thing for me from waking up until going to bed. They would cook every meal, even make my beverages for me, take over whenever I tried to do anything at all. And they tried to solve every problem for me, so much so that they would get upset and jokingly guilt me every time I tried to do anything myself. Oh, so you don't love me anymore? I get it. Everyone always told me how lucky I was to have someone care so much, but it bothered me a lot. It made me doubt myself over the months that we lived together. I started to get incompetent even outside the relationship, which was so odd as I've always been fiercely independent. Story 14. Constantly being in each other's faces in the early weeks, months of a relationship. All the while neglecting other aspects of life. You may even see work being more shoddy at the early stage of such relationships. Neglect of friendship, family needs, wants, and expectations. It is absolutely a necessity that both get to know each other, physically and emotionally, but the spiritual needs of each needs to be met as well. But you do not need to be in each other's faces 247. It isn't healthy. Story 15. Constantly blocking and unblocking via phone, social media, whatever. Some people use this as a way to test the blocked party. They think that when their SO does crazy things to get back in contact, it must mean the love is real. Story 16. It only takes 10 seconds to send a text to check in with me. I just miss you. I know you're at work for 9 hours, but why haven't you texted me? I miss you. Are you cheating on me? Why can you just text me back when you pee? Jesus fudge Christ, when I started seeing people talking about, you can just text me back in your bathroom breaks if you're busy at work, like I can't even shoot without an assignment being attached to that too. Story 17. We have an open phone policy and we tell each other everything. No secrets. If my friends tell me something, they should assume I'm telling my partner. Throwing away your individuality and all your own private thoughts and friendships is not cute or indicative of being trustworthy. Because if not doing that leads to insecurity or jealousy, then they don't actually trust you. Toxic. Answer. It's only recently that I've become aware of how common open phone policies are these days. I would never even dream of it, because they're as toxic as hell. And I suspect, encouraged by people who are simultaneously both controlling and insecure. As you say, people are entitled to their own private thoughts and friendships independent of their partner. That's what makes them an individual and independent person. Knowing that your communications are under potential surveillance and review of another person, even your SO, is stifling and prevents one from their own growth. Story 18. I used to have an ex that would pop up at my job constantly. I bartended waited tables, so I think she thought it was okay, BC, it was a social kind of job. But she ended up just wanting my focus and would get super jealous when I would talk to my customers. She thought I flirted with everybody. She also would get super tipsy at the bar sometimes, and it was just embarrassing and unprofessional. Story 19. My husband thought he saw me in a stranger's car, so he tried to run them off the road and eliminate everyone in both vehicles to punish me for cheating. Tee-hee, he loves me so much. Girl, don't tell people this, JFC. Story 20. Constant contact via text calls video. I deeply value my time alone and trying to deliberately consume all of my time so they don't feel lonely, felt like they were drowning me to keep themselves afloat. Story 21. Buying expensive and important things without asking first. Some things need to be discussed to make sure you're getting the right one that your partner wants. X. I was saving up for a bicycle I wanted. I had in mind a few different ones. Then one day, my GF surprised me with a bicycle that was almost entirely the opposite of what I wanted, and she was upset when I wasn't jumping for joy. It drives me up the wall when I see these cutesy posts where one person will surprise their partner with a puppy or kitten. That is an animal that will need constant care and attention, a huge responsibility. And should 1 million be discussed beforehand? Story 22. Sharing your location them less than 6 months into dating. The only reason my partner and I shared our locations prior to living together was when we were on vacation. For safety, usually traveling together anyways though. After we moved in together, I asked that he share his location. I share mine as well, because of me wanting to have dinner ready in time when he gets home. Story 23. When they try to pretend they are do something for you and insist, but in reality they want it for themselves, and it's veiled as something for you. In reality, if they are honest, they want it for themselves or to show off to other people that they got you something. Then, oftentimes, they use it against you at a later time that they did this thing for you. Story 24. I might get downvoted, but those location tracker apps weird me out. My partner has his Garmin set to message me if he's in a road cycling accident, but otherwise I really don't need to know his location at all times, vice versa. Story 25. There is this cute girl I'm friends with. I've heard stories about her, like once she bought her boyfriend an iPhone for his birthday. That relationship wasn't super solid and ended maybe 6 months later. Sometimes I wonder if she is still paying that $30 a month anyway. Imagine what kind of present she is expecting on her birthday. Story 26. Oh, I got a few of these from an observed relationship I saw years ago, and I'm sure has only gotten worse. We were glued to each other. We've always felt married. We introduced each other as husband and wife before we were married. He always wanted to be near me. We were never apart. Weaponized enmeshment as loyalty and pressured role assignment, but he's matured now. Rewriting who a person is to fit your narrative. We struggled, but that's what made it so deep. Forced trauma bond. I'm an odd creature. I do not act nor think like most women. I'm more like a guy in some ways. Cool girl. Manipulation, preemptive framing. Has not a talker about emotions, but he shows it. Emotional avoidance, minimizing actions that keeps him passive and manageable. There was no growth asked, but their relationship was performed. Story 27. I love you more. It completely disregards a person's love and makes them feel like their love isn't enough because the other partner loves them more. Love isn't a competition to see who can love the other one more. Story 28. Having location constantly shared. Knowing what the other person is doing at all times, knowing who they're talking to or who they're with. So frickin' creepy and controlling. Screams control issues and insecurity. Story 29. Exclusive roles like cooking, cleaning, laundry, housework, lawn care, etc. I get that some people are better at something and some schedules determine some roles. But when something doesn't happen because someone's not available or because someone's sick, not good. On top of that, shared effort and collaboration can feed our social needs, and our minds can benefit from the neuroplasticity exercise of doing things we don't already excel at. Plus, what happens when someone breaks up or your partner dies? Story 30. Physical play fight. My brother and Sil will giggle and smack each other progressively harder, and then when someone speaks up to tell them to knock it off, they immediately defend it. We're just joking around. Nah, fam, it doesn't seem like you guys like each other. Story 31. When they try to tell you what to wear or not to wear with a passive-aggressive attitude like, it looks good, but maybe it's better if it's not that short, or you will really go out like this. It's up to you, though. Story 32. Turning their partner into their entire personality. It's so sweet at the outset. They're my world. I want to do everything with them. But their friends, their interests, and their sense of identity are gradually eliminated in the process, and their partner must do the same. And then once it's not love anymore, it's cute codependency. Story 33. Order for you without asking. Buy you clothes without asking, and that are for their pleasure, not yours. Give you presents or experiences without asking, and that are more for their pleasure and not yours. Take over a drawer, counter space, closet, etc. without asking. Ignoring your specific, for a reason, request, and buying something else instead without asking because that wasn't what you really needed. Dropping by unannounced far more than mutually agreed upon, especially early in a relationship, without asking. pretty much just invading my darn space without asking and trying to think. For me, being nice is great, but don't pull that presumptuous Hallmark Channel garbage as if I didn't have a brain or boundaries. Story 34. When my ex and I went on our first trip, he would follow me around. The entire time of the trip, he was like a child glued to my hip. I had zero personal privacy those 2 weeks. It got to the point where he would unlock the door to the bathroom, walk into the bathroom as I was using it, and leave the door unlocked so he could go back in again. I didn't get to breathe until I got home. Story 35. Avoiding conflict because of being afraid of hurting or upsetting their partner. My ex just broke up with me a week and a half ago with his poor communication issues being the root cause. All that trying to avoid hurting me just to hurt me in the end. He'll always prefer a small amount of hurt or upset feelings than letting resentment build like he did. Story 36. This thread needs to be shut down. The irony that this thread is a toxic overgeneralization that's created an echo chamber of misery. No two relationships are alike. Do not treat any relationship you personally have as another you've seen or read about. Anyone that tries to do so needs to see a couples therapist with their partner or see a personal therapist if they don't have a partner. Story 37. Maybe it's just me, but someone when they don't get the answer they're looking for, being like, I want you to make me stay, or I want you to want me here, even though my tone says you're welcome to stay and be here. Story 38. After reading this, I am really proud of my partner and I. We had both been single and in therapy for several years when we met. We were radically honest with each other up front. We have spent time apart for reasons of necessity, such as visa issues, etc., and just doing our own things. We have some common hobbies and rituals, but mostly just love each other and enjoy the freedom we have. No games, no BS, just two adults adulting alongside each other. I hope everyone who wants this gets it. Story 39. Copying everything I do. It was sweet at first, but then as time goes on, my ex would just so happen to be interested in my style, down to what shoes I wore, the days I would organize or clean my room. He would clean his room on that exact specific day to be in sync with me. The way I talk down to my accent. I have a Spanish accent and he's British. I talk about getting a dog and then he went and bought a dog for himself. I dye my hair blonde, then he wants to dye his hair blonde. I cut my hair, then he wants to cut his hair. And the worst of all, I was on the waiting list to be tested for bipolar disorder for around 3 years, and I finally got tested last month, and I've been diagnosed with bipolar type 2, and I told him that, and all of a sudden he says, oh yeah, I've got bipolar 2 without any diagnosis or any doctor appointments or any waiting lists. He also does not have bipolar as I know him, and I know his mannerisms and how he is. It gets to a point where it's insensitive and incredibly toxic, hence why he's my ex now. Story 40. Being controlling. Sometimes people try to frame it as they care so much and want what's best for me, but people deserve to have autonomy and not have their beliefs and opinions constantly challenged and minimized. Story 41. My ex was this way. Everything had to be ours. I didn't have anything of my own. Shortly after I met my now husband, I remember begging him to go to a concert with me, but it wasn't music he listened to, and I was saying how much I had to see this band and can we please go? And he just casually said, go, take Becca. She likes that shoot. And it hit me like a truck that it was totally normal for couples to do things separately. Now, 15 years later, we do a lot together because we genuinely love each other's company, but we also both have stuff the other one isn't usually involved in. I do community theater. I'm in a band. I go to songwriter nights and song circles. He goes and tinkers with a tractor or goes hunting with his dad. And I can't imagine going back to having to share everything. I feel like I can't breathe when I think about it. Answer: one of my best friends dated and is now engaged to a girl like this. His first real relationship. Not sure if it's him or her, but he puts all the codependency on her. She never really had friends, so it's probably mostly on her. Years of asking him if we could just hang out like old times, and we hung out maybe 10 times during that time frame, each for a few hours tops. BC, he had to get back to her. She was very annoying to be around, couldn't hold a conversation about anything other than herself, and refused to do boy stuff, so anytime we did hang out, it would just be watching TV in her basement. He'd say stuff like, "You just have to give her a chance," or "We're at the age where we start settling down." We were early 20s, LOL. Basically, couldn't see him without her. Eventually, stopped talking to him. BC head guilt, tripped me for not hanging out, but refused to hang out if she couldn't come. It got to the point where he would tell her everything and she'd confront me about not wanting to hang out, and I just gave up. Fast forward like 3 years, and he basically does not have any real friendships that he doesn't share with her. Which is wild because he was incredibly popular in high school and always doing something social. The type of kid who was popular with every social group. Now his wedding party is his brother's, his fiancée's little sister's boyfriend, and her next-door neighbor. Also, he lost an insane, unhealthy amount of weight. Story 42. I literally just ended things with someone who was very quickly turning into someone like this. Less than 2 weeks into dating, and they were already getting upset if I went to the gym without consulting them or had plans with my friends that didn't involve them. Huge yikes. Story 43. I think this one needs some context. My husband almost died. He was on life support for months, and it's a miracle he is alive today. We try to spend as much time together as possible because we truly love each other and know how quickly life can turn. We can do activities separate or with other people, but we genuinely dislike being apart and try to always schedule things to coincide. But not discrediting your sentiment. Some people really are just controlling and don't want anyone else with their person, and that's wild. Story 44. I knew several people who had partners like these. They had to be together for everything no matter what. And if there was any point where things were done separately, the reaction would jealously, guilt-tripping, or worse. Story 45. I knew someone like this. He never accepted the fact that it was an unhealthy way to approach relationships and that he would end up eliminate friendships in the process. He found someone similar. Got married. No one was surprised when they got divorced shortly after, nor the fact that there was really no one willing to give him emotional support through the process, since at that point we all knew that friendships were a thing he remembered existed when not dating.